Yo, what's up with everybody, man? What's good? Yo, what's good? Great. Hey, yo, hit that like button, man. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when I'm dropping the videos, man. A couple weeks here, man. I just want to schedule out. Had a great show last night on Neck Bone Takes. Y'all go check that out, man. Shout out to Neck Bone. Shout out to Bishop. Shout out to my Rawhide family. You know what I'm saying? What up, Coach Hayes? What up, y'all, man? Look, check me out, man. What up, man? DP Sports with DP. I go check him out too. Really flawed. The home girl. You know what I'm saying? What's up? All right, look, y'all need. So I'm gonna be doing the show here soon with college football talks daily. You know what I'm saying? The end of the year show, your boy then came up. He invited me to the platform. I'm grateful to go up on that platform. It's gonna be at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? After week 14 wraps up last week and before the championship games are played, we're gonna have a show and we're going to, you know what I'm saying, we're going to talk about the brackets and we're going to talk about just pretty much recapping the whole season. Looking forward to the next season. So y'all be on the lookout for that, man, because that'll probably be the next time that you really see your boy live. So y'all be paying attention for that. I'm gonna try to advertise it as these weeks are coming up, man, because as I'm honored to go on a platform and get offered by somebody that actually that just met me and just like what he saw out of me, like what I do, and was like, look, man, come up on a platform. I like working and collabing with other content creators, man. That's what it's about out here, you know what I mean? And other sports guys, people out here, you know. I love to collab, man. So anybody out there that want to collab, man, that ain't afraid to hit the inbox, man, you know what I'm saying? I ain't worried about view, you know what I'm saying? Whatever else, hit me up, man, because I get on here and I'll talk in respect. All right, respect, y'all. But look, the week is wrapped up. The week is done. It's in the books right now. And we got a top 10 loss. Yes, we do. We got a top 10 loss. But before I even get up into a lot of those games and recapping the games, I want to talk about why in the world the committee is trying to push USF into the college football playoff. Now, I've been said this, y'all. Last week. Go check out the show from last week. Go check out the show, but like it was definitely last week when we got to talking about the group of five needing their own playoff bracket. Now, a lot of people have already talked about that. That's not something that I just brought up. This is something that, you know what I'm saying, this is something that a lot of us are already had thoughts of doing anyway. And why hasn't this been done? And this season is the perfect example of why this really needs to happen. And instead of extending the playoffs we have, just go ahead and add in a group of five playoff. Like, go and add their own playoff. That would be something to watch. All college football fans would love to watch a group of five playoff. They would love to watch that. Even at FCS level, you know what I mean? We watch that because these are the best. These are the highest ranked 12 teams in that league, right? Whether it's FCS, FBS, SWAC, MEAC, whatever. These are the best 12 teams going at it right now for the national championship. Everybody would love to watch that. I don't know what's the problem. I don't know if it's views. I don't know if it's the logistics setting it up and what's this and what's that. You know what I mean? What's that mean? And I think that they can spread out some of these bowl games, like, right? Because they just oversaturated the bowl game. Just a GoDaddy bowl. Let's call it the Geek Vape Bowl. Let's call it whatever brand got enough money to put money towards sponsoring a bowl game pretty much gets one. So there's so many bowl games now that it's oversaturated the bowl game to the point where players aren't even playing, right? But if you add in the group of five playoffs, then those bowl games can roll over somewhere else and also mean something, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, think, like, if I, you know what I'm saying? If I could sit here and do that, then I'm sure other people can do that too. But I also wanted, you know what I'm saying, before I get way off topic, I wanted to talk about not UCF, excuse me, they're in the Big 12, why USF, University of South Florida, is the Bulls, why they don't, like, I didn't think they deserve to be in the college football playoff. And like I said, once again, this year is the prime example of that. The closest team that I think we got right now that you can possibly put out of the group of 5 is out of the Sun Belt right now, and that's James Madison. Shout out to James Madison. You know what I mean? Like, they're undefeated in the Sun Belt. They have not took a L in their conference at all. You know what I mean? And the loss that they took, it don't look that good right now, which was Louisville, but it was a 14-point loss. But James Madison has, you know what I'm saying, proven that they're worthy of going to the playoff. If you're going to let a group of 5 team in, it had to have been them, period, point blank. They should have been in front of USF. Y'all seen what USF does. They dud out. You know what I'm saying? They dud out. They have not been consistent. I wish Tulane and in North Texas would have stayed consistent throughout, because those teams are good teams and they pretty much play consistent. They just didn't have all the pieces to win those games. And had they had those pieces, I would rather want to see one of those games, Tulane or North Texas over USF. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? And then people just totally disrespected the San Diego State Aztec. How we forget about San Diego State? They were undefeated, and we still was looking at the American Athletic Conference for a G5 to get into the playoffs. Like, come on, committee. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, did y'all not see Memphis lose to UAB? That should have been done right there. When Memphis beat USF, and then when Memphis lost to UAB, that cancels out. That whole conference, it cancels itself out. You can no longer go in that conference for that game. And then Navy, I gotta go and look at this the standings or whatever, but I believe Navy had took a L2 that I don't think that they probably should have took, but nonetheless, they took that L. Navy took that L, and I think it was a conference game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they lost to North Texas, and they got spanked. They got spanked by North Texas. I mean, yeah, look, North Texas won that game, without a doubt. Without a doubt, they won that game. Now the quarterback Horvath, he was all about it in that game. But yeah, North Texas put it on them. They only scored 17 points on North Texas, and North Texas beat them 31-17 in that game. And North Texas, if I'm not mistaken, North Texas is like a third-ranked team in that conference. I can look at it, you know what I'm saying, because it's nothing but. I just didn't. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on here in college? Like, are we forgetting things? Like, why is this even happening? So North Texas had lost to them, and then when North Texas, I'm going to look at what North Texas did, right? And North Texas had lost to USF, the 63-36. And they just canceled each other out pretty much. They canceled each other out. And that's what I mean. Like, so USF beats a North Texas team that beats the team that they just lost to, and they probably would have lost by more had Navy had more of an offense. Y'all couldn't stop a quarterback power and a quarterback follow. A quarterback power. Y'all couldn't stop it. They just could not stop it. So what makes you think USF, like, yeah, they got to win on a Florida team that is bad right now in the SEC and is going through some things right now? They're going through a change. Their defense is there, I guess, but they beat them. And at the very first game of the season, they beat them. They got beat by Miami. And I think people want to keep looking at this Florida game and saying that, well, they beat an SEC team. So what? They losing in their conference, and they're losing in their conference, and they're not consistent. They don't deserve to be there. Boise State won. Boise State won the Mountain West. They swept the Mountain West. Nobody in the Mountain West can see Boise State. And then they lost, and then it was a convincing loss to an Oregon team that was undefeated. Like, should I say that again? Boise State last year got into the playoffs at a G5 because they swept the Mountain West, and they lost to the undefeated number 1 team in the country, in Oregon. And Oregon had a rough route, by the way, in the playoffs. Their first round in the playoffs, then they wound up playing like Ohio State. Like, that's crazy. That should have never happened. Had it been like this year, Oregon probably would have had a better run. But what's done is what's done. You know what I'm saying? I'm just fair about football, period, point blank. I don't care what team it was. That's hard to go undefeated. And Oregon was undefeated last year. And Boise State gave them a run for their money. And Boise State won the Mountain West convincingly. And that's why they deserve to be the group of 5 team that was in the college football playoff. There's no other argument for that. I don't even know where we're going. I don't even know where the standard's at right now. Because you can't lose to a UAB team that loses all the time. They don't lose all the time. UAB, but you know what I'm saying? I guess Trent Dilfer, before Trent Dilfer got fired, they had won a couple of games, but UAB was struggling, man. UAB has been struggling. Yes, they were struggling in the American Athletic Conference. They beat Alabama State by 10, 52-42. They lost to Navy 38-24. They lost to they beat Akron by 3 points. They lost to Tennessee 51-24. They lost to Army 31-13. They lost to FAU 53-33. And FAU, they should be a lot better than Owls. They should be Florida Atlantic and Florida National. They should be a lot better, but they're not. You know what I'm saying? Then they beat Memphis 31-24, and that was convincingly. That was a convincing game when they beat them. They just didn't you know what I mean? Memphis had to come back and put them points up. It would have been more than that. You know what I mean? That can't happen. That can't happen. They lose the Rice, and they have not won a game since. They have not won a game since. They only won 3 games this year. They've only won 3 games. So a 3-win team at the bottom of your G5 conference is you lose to that team, that washes that Florida loss out. I mean, that Florida went out. I don't care if they beat Florida it don't matter. It does not matter anymore. There's no argument. You got to go undefeated. You have to be undefeated, because if not, we're going to watch a blowout. And it's not going to be fair, because Boise State was a really good team last year. They were, you know what I mean? They were dominant in their conference, undefeated in their conference, and they played Oregon tough. They were a really good team with Ashton Genty there. They really were. So I want to see a good football game. And that's why we out here as the fans and college football fans are pushing for this group of 5 playoff. We are. We're pushing for that group of 5 playoff, because we don't want to see blowouts. We rather see good games than blowouts. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to wind up seeing a blowout in the first round, because y'all want a group of 5 team to get into the college football playoff so bad, instead of giving them their own conference, so we can see more competitive games that actually are going to be competitive. You put all the group of 5, you put the group of 4, group of 5, whatever, group 6, however you want to put that now, in their own playoff bracket. Those are competitive games. You don't have to stretch out the playoff bracket that we have now. Just give them their own. Just give them their own. And now they're playing. And it's dope. You know what I mean? And what's rightly so. And let's just be honest. Those head coaches know that they that they really can't beat those teams. That's why it was like a Super Bowl for them. They've been riding that high. USF, after they beat Florida, their season was, we won everything. We won everything. They let off the throttle, because I do believe that team is talented. But you know what I mean? They no telling what them young men is doing, partying, whatever they doing, but they not focused, because that is a good team, but they're not focused and they're not consistent. And they shouldn't be rewarded for that. Period. You don't get rewarded for being inconsistent on the field. I don't want to hear none of them G5 programs do. And if you think that I'm crazy because I'm sitting here caping for James Madison to be in there, you don't know. You must not have been watching football, because James Madison absolutely deserves to be in there. Last time I checked, James Madison was doing pretty good. They were doing pretty good in their conference. And yes, James Madison, they deserve to be in there, because they were doing pretty good in the Sun Belt. And I'm getting ready to check it right now. But, that was like one of the only teams that was still balling. And yeah, you deserve that. So right now, I mean, right now in American Athletic, you know what I'm saying, before I get off this topic, we got Navy's in first place, obviously. You know, they're 6-1 in the conference. They're 8-2 overall right now. Second place, Tulane, 5-1, 8-2 overall. Third place is a very good North Texas team, University of North Texas team, Mean Green, 5-1 in the conference, 9-1 overall. And they're in third place because of who they lost to, right? USF right now is sitting at fifth. They're sitting at fifth place. They were just ranked number 24, looking at as being the highest ranked conference. Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? And that probably is one of the better G5 conferences this year. I get that, but no. It's about your wins, staying consistent, and that's what it needs to be. And James Madison, they've put in the work. Now, regardless of James Madison gonna get smacked around or not, but that they undefeated and that criteria there, they've proven they ain't losing to nobody in the Sun Belt. I don't think. You know what I'm saying? No, they haven't. They haven't lost nobody in the Sun Belt. James Madison remains undefeated in the Sun Belt at 7-0. They're 9-1 overall. Yes, they are, and they got a pretty good total defense. They got a pretty good overall total defense, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not just talking. I'm talking all out of all college football. But James Madison got a pretty good defense, if I'm not mistaken. As far as total, I think it was under total yards per game. Total yards per game. James Madison is giving up 257 yards per game, behind Indiana, which is giving up 249 yards per game, total yards per game. And again, the teams in front of them are Indiana, Oregon, Toledo out of the MAC, and Ohio State. Now, yeah, they're in the Sun Belt, granted, but they're showing that they're balling. They're giving up about 168 yards passing per game. And they're giving up 89 yards rushing per game, and they're giving up 16 points per game. James Madison is. That's pretty good. Around, you look around the league, you know what I mean? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. When you look around the whole college football as a whole, that is pretty good. Now, regardless of them being in the Sun Belt or where they're at, they're doing their job. They're supposed to. If you're in the Sun Belt, they're supposed to win it, right? Right? Yeah, they're supposed to win it, be dominant, show dominance statistically. So teams ain't just getting busy on them. It's not like they're, you know what I mean? They're in there. So what's up? And they're good. They're a team. That is the team. And yeah, they kind of snuck them in there with a ranking after people noticed that James Madison wasn't in there and that you had USF above them as being the highest ranked group of 5 team. But nah, that can't happen. And it should never have happened in the first place. It should have never even been somewhat of a topic to even talk about. You know what I mean? I thought that was just crazy to even try to mention those guys being where they were at. And it just ain't even statistically. And I just gave y'all the numbers on their defense, but they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team. You know what I'm saying? I think offensively, James Madison is right behind Notre Dame when it comes to total yards per game with 457 yards per game. They're getting they're averaging about 215 yards passing per game, that's pretty low. But rushing wise, James Madison, I can't remember what I just had it too. Rushing wise, James Madison is getting 41 yards per game rushing. They're averaging about 37 points per game. As of right now, I mean, it's pretty good. Statistically, they keep up, and y'all like numbers, right? The committee, that's what they like, analytics and numbers. This, you know what I mean? They like analytics and numbers. And when you watch them on film, when you watch those guys play pretty tough. They do. They play good. I've seen them down in games, and I've seen them come back, you know what I'm saying, strong, and they play strong. They got a decent unit out there. I mean, whatever they doing out there at James Madison, they got to be doing something right. That's where Kurt Cinetti came from, right? The philosophy must, be keeping up, because there's a lot of guys that is at Indiana right now and that came from James Madison, and Indiana's sitting at the number 2 team in the country right now. So say what you want about James Madison, they doing something right, because Kurt Cinetti pretty much brought James Madison up to the Big Ten, and they're the number 2 team in the country, Indiana, and they're still rolling. So I don't want to hear all that. Yeah. So I ain't just caping for any team. It's just fair is fair. And if we looking at the same thing as we was looking at last year, let's keep that same energy. Let's keep that same energy. Let's not try to switch it around and try to throw in another team that don't deserve to be there. That conference washed itself. They washed themselves. Period. There's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to even discuss when it comes to that. They washed themselves out. You can't lose to UAB and then take that L to a team that lost to UAB, USF, and you beat Florida. And then you lost to a Miami team, played them tough up to a point, but then you know what I'm saying? Like, look, you didn't look that bad. You know what I'm saying? So, and then you had that Florida win. They was a shoo-in. They left that up. So no, can't keep caping for them. That's a problem with the media. And I'm upset that San Diego State took an L in their conference, because they were looking like the team. They're only giving up 12. They're averaging only giving up 12 points a game. So, and they're looking pretty good, only giving up defensively 100 yards per game, passing 162 yards per game. And the total, they're giving up 262. So I'm kind of upset that San Diego State, Sean Lewis's team, didn't actually make it, because I wanted to see them in the playoffs. I did. I thought that they were going to get a shoe in. The MAC is just everywhere. The MAC is full of competitive teams. They're beating up on each other. They know that they didn't have the chance, because they're beating up on each other week in, week out. It's so competitive down there. It's like it's not top heavy at all. You don't know week to week what's going. It's coming down to the wire in the MAC. So and the Sun Belt is pretty much sewed up. That's pretty much what's going on down there at the American Athletic. They kind of taking losses from teams that they shouldn't, but the conference is pretty good, right? So moving on.